Clerk will read.
Senate Concurrent Resolution 6 by Senator Monning and others relative to a sister state relationship with Santa Fe, Argentina.
Ms. Garcia, you may open.
Mr. Speaker and members, Senate Concurrent Resolution 6 will establish a formal sister state relationship with the province of Santa Fe, Argentina. The state of California and the province of Santa Fe share numerous cultural, social, and economic ties, and strengthening this relationship through the establishment of a sister state designation will foster greater opportunities in trade, education, and cultural exchange. I ask that you join me in promoting greater opportunities for collaboration between California and the Santa Fe province by voting aye on SR 6.
And would you like co-authors, Ms. Garcia?
Yes.
The first roll will be open for co-authors. Members, clerk will open the roll. This is for co-authors on SCR 6. All members wishing to add as co-authors on SCR 6, the clerk will close the roll. There are 69 co-authors added. Without objection, we may take a voice vote on the item. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. The ayes have it. Resolution is adopted. Moving to file item 36, that's SB 651. The clerk will read.
Senate Bill 651 by Senator Leyva, enact relate to juveniles.
Mr. Cooley, you may open.
Good morning, colleagues. I'm here to present Senate Bill 651 relating to the definition of a victim under the Welfare and Institutions Code. In California, under the Constitution, under our penal code, when we talk about victims of crimes, it includes both direct victims and those who are sort of indirect victims, derivative victims of a crime. This is not the case currently under our Welfare and Institution Code, and for this reason, if you have a victim of a youth who has committed a crime, but they are a derivative victim, they're unable to qualify for victims restitution programs. This bill by Senator Leyva is sponsored by the District Attorney of Los Angeles County and the Victims Action Alliance. It will conform the terminology in our Welfare and Institution Code to the Constitution, to the Penal Code. It's a good bill. I request an aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Cooley. Seeing no discussion on this item, clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll. Tally the vote. Ayes 71, no 0. Measure passes. File items 37 and 38 pass and retain. Moving to file item 39. That's SB 371. Clerk will read.
Senate Bill 371 by Senator Hancock, enact relating to local government.
Mr. Ting, you may open.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm here to present SB 371 by Senator Hancock as cleanup legislation from SB 874 to clarify that schools and community college districts have options to exempt certain classes of property owners on a fixed income when developing local tax measures. And they are seniors who are over 65, persons who receive supplemental security income SSI, or persons who are disabled and are receiving SSI. Respectfully ask for your aye vote on this measure. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ting. Seeing no discussion on this item, clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll. Tally the vote. Ayes 51, noes 11. Measure passes. File item 40, pass and retain. Moving to file item 41, that's SB 440. Clerk will read.
Senate Bill 440 by the Committee on Education and others, enact relating to post-secondary education.
Mr. Medina.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill is the annual higher education omnibus cleanup bill and proposes a technical, non-controversial change to the education code. By tradition, objection to any provision by the affected agency, the Department of Finance, or any of the four legislative caucuses prevents that provision from being included in this bill. These provisions conform to the provisions affecting the DREAM loan program for the purposes of ensuring consistency with all other financial aid programs, whereby campuses of the CSU and UC have the option to withhold registration privileges should a student default on a loan regardless of the loan program. This measure has no opposition. I respectfully ask for your aye vote on this technical omnibus bill.
Thank you, Mr. Medina. Seeing no discussion or debate on this item, clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll. Tally the vote. Ayes 70, no 0. Measure passes. File item 42 is passed and retained. Members, we are going to move back to Assembly third reading to file item 25. That's AJR 12. The clerk will read.
Assembly Joint Resolution 12 by Assembly Member Eduardo Garcia and others relative to the H-1B visa program.
Mr. Eduardo Garcia, you may open on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of this body. AJR 12 urges the United States Department of Labor and the Congress of the United States to investigate the alleged misuse of the H-1B visa program. It also seeks the immediate discontinuation of replacing California employees with foreign contracted services through the improper use of this program. Members, this program was created to provide businesses with foreign workers who have skill sets that cannot be obtained here in our country, not to displace hardworking Americans. Members, we cannot and we shall not stand for this type of outsourcing of American jobs. I ask that you join me, Republicans and Democrats across this nation, to ask for the Department of Labor to look into the misuse of this program. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. Ms. Brown, you are recognized.
I rise as a co-author. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise as a co-author to support AJR 12. California companies that abuse the H-1B visa program must be held accountable for any policy or action that takes a job away from a qualified California worker and gives it to an H-1B worker. It's not the intent of this visa program. We cannot allow our workers to be harmed by its misuse. We must go on record to show the companies that choose to displace and exploit American workers through the misapplication of this program that we do not support the practice. I urge your aye vote on this most important resolution. And I thank my colleague from Coachella for bringing it forward.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Mr. Hernandez, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. As chair of the Assembly Committee on Labor and Employment, I'm proud to be a joint author on this important measure. The H-1B visa program allows businesses to temporarily hire highly skilled foreign workers with specialized knowledge where a qualified United States worker cannot be found. This program serves a vital role. However, recent cases have highlighted that there may be abuse to this program. These visas were never designed to displace American workers, but unfortunately, that is exactly what is going on. I think this is a bipartisan issue. I thank the author for bringing the attention to this matter, and I'm glad that we're able to voice as a legislature a position of protecting our American workers and sending a message that we are not in support of displacing the good-paying American jobs here we work so hard to keep and maintain. Thank you.
Mr. Wagner, you are recognized from your desk.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm going to rise in opposition. First, compliments to the author. We have seen some amendments that have taken the specific focus on one particular company out of the language of the resolution. I think it is absolutely unprecedented for this body to, before any serious fact-finding by any independent tribunal, for us to proclaim somebody guilty. Nevertheless, the thrust of the resolution is clear, and we are here putting the cart before the horse. We do not know, and yet the resolution specifically says some companies are misusing. Well, we don't know that yet. That isn't our role to find facts. That's especially the case given that this is a federal question involving a federal program. So we are way ahead of ourselves. This is better than it was, but it still is unfortunate, unfair, and essentially at this point unproven. Do we want to make sure that American jobs are not taken, are not exported overseas? Absolutely we do. A resolution saying that might well be appropriate. but a fact-finding resolution calling out a particular company or a particular industry when the facts haven't yet been found is not only not the role of this body as a legislature. We're not a court. It's not our role as a legislature, but it is very, very unfair to a very important business here in all of our communities. I'd urge a no vote on this. Come back with a resolution that does appropriately suggest that we are interested in protecting the jobs of our citizens. That's something that indeed would be bipartisan. We could all get behind.
Ms. Gonzalez, you are recognized.
I rise as a proud co-author of this measure, and just in terms of response to nothing being proven, this past year, Center on Investigative Reporting with NBC Bay Area actually investigated this very subject in the Bay Area. And in fact, last year, a company was brought up on 19 felony counts, in fact, pled guilty to misusing the H-1B visa program. We know there are abuses not only for the American workers who are displaced, but for the workers being brought here from other countries in conditions that they claim are close to basically servants. And so this is a program that has already been investigated by the media, by a whole bunch of individuals, obviously. It's been found guilty in court, and it's time that the government also take a look at it. I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
All debate having ceased on the resolution, Mr. Garcia, you may close.
And members, I respectfully ask that we, as the California State Legislature, go on record requesting that this matter be looked at and that we continue to protect American jobs here in the state of California. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Mr. Garcia, do you wish to have co-authors?
The first roll for co-authors.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. First roll is open for co-authors. Members, clerk will open the roll. Members, this is for co-authors on the resolution. Co-authors adding on AJR 12. The clerk will close the roll. There are 47 co-authors added. This item requires a roll call vote. Clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. The clerk will close the roll. Tally the vote. Ayes 48, noes 20. Resolution is adopted. Members, we are moving back to guest introductions. Mr. Wilk, you have special guests with us in the Assembly today.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. Today I have the distinct honor and privilege of introducing the U.S. National Academic Decathlon Champions, Granada Hills Charter High School from Granada Hills, California. This incredible group of high school students beat 500 students from 50 states in competition that included 10 events covering topics such as art, music, social science, economics, language and literature, and mathematics. And these students also participated in essay writing and interviews. Today we have with us team members Peter Cho, Janine Doctor, Fernando Sanchez, Natalie Gonzalez, Tantai Pong Steen, Aisha Mahmood, Ji Hee Han, along with their coach Matthew Arnold, Community Outreach Coordinator Marilyn Kozatek, and School Administrator Julia Howman. I'm really honored to represent these fine group of young people. This is their fourth national championship in 5 years. It's just an outstanding achievement. Please congratulate the Charter Hills School.
Members, we are moving to the consent calendar. Does any member wish to remove an item from the consent calendar? Seeing and hearing none, the clerk will read the second-day consent calendar.
Senate Bill 363 by Senator Morrell and others, and act relating to attorney's fees.
Members, please find your seats. Please find your seats, members. The clerk will open the roll on the consent calendar. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. The clerk will close the roll and tally the vote. Ayes 72, no 0. The consent calendar is adopted. The clerk will read the remaining bills on the second-day consent calendar.
Senate Bill 594.
Ayes 72, no 0.
Senate Bill 146 with urgency.
Ayes 72, no 0 on the urgency. Ayes 72, no 0 on the bill.
Senate Bill 351.
Ayes 72, no 0.
And Senate Joint Resolution 7.
Ayes 72, no 0. Members, if we'd have your attention, we are now moving to announcements and adjournments in memory. The following members are granted prior permission to speak on an adjournment in memory. Members, if you could find your desks, please, and direct your attention to Ms. Brown. Ms. Brown, you are recognized for your adjournment in memory.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Members, Ms. Brown, you may proceed.
I ask that this body adjourn in memory of Mary Ruth Townsend, who passed away on Thursday, May 28, 2015, at the age of 82. Ms. Townsend was born in Kansas to Juan and Guadalupe Sanchez, and her family later relocated to Southern California. Early in her career, she met and married Arthur Townsend, and the couple had 3 children and raised their family in the San Bernardino area. Mrs. Townsend enjoyed her career as a legal secretary for over 30 years, and after her retirement, she joined her husband in running the family business, the Precinct Reporter newspaper. She has been called a phenomenal woman. So in 2010, she was honored by Assemblymember Wilma Amina Carter as a Woman of the Year and recognized for her tireless work for the people of San Bernardino. Mrs. Townsend leaves to cherish her memory, the legacy her children, Brian, Yolanda, and Michael, as well as 4 siblings, 7 grandchildren, and a great-granddaughter. Members, I ask that we adjourn in memory of Mary Ruth Townsend. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Ms. Kim, you are recognized for your adjournment in memory.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. Today, I rise with great sadness that I ask you to adjourn in memory of Ms. Susan Ann Curdy, who just passed away last week at the tender age of 100 years old. This news came to me personally as a deep, major shock because despite her age, she was still up and about. She was very bright. She was always alert. She even spoke at a community event not too long ago, really encouraging young generations to stand up and really believe in what they believe in. And she was really inspiring all of us. So her news of death came to me as a personal surprise because I've known her and have followed her career and really respected her on a personal level. And it wasn't too long ago when I was attending a drama that was depicting her story in a live stage, depicting her remarkable life of this great American of Korean descent. Susan Ann Curdy was the eldest daughter of Dosan An Chang-ho, who is a Korean independence activist who fought against Japanese colonial rule. Miss Susan Ann Curdy joined the United States Navy in 1942, serving until 1946. She became a lieutenant, and she was the first Asian American woman to join the United States Navy and later became the first female gunnery officer. She went on to work for the National Security Agency as a code breaker, becoming the first Korean American in the United States Naval Intelligence. Miss Susan Ann Curdy was born in the United States, but she didn't forget her father's fight for Korean independence and worked for many Korean groups in the United States. Ms. Curdy has received numerous recognitions. In 2003, she was named by the California State Assembly as the Woman of the Year for her public service. This year, the County of Los Angeles also honored her service by declaring March 10 Susan Ann Curdy Day. Ms. Susan Ann Curdy will be remembered as more than a legend and a true trailblazer that was able to achieve so much that no one has before her had. She shattered glass ceilings and paved the way for the next generation. And I'm so proud to have personally known her, and I ask members to adjourn in her memory today. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kim. Mr. Ridley Thomas.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and colleagues. I rise to affirm the gentlewoman from Orange County's remarks about Susan Ann Cuddy, a real freedom fighter. I hope that you all heard and appreciated that this trailblazing centurion was a leader through many decades on civil and human rights, on national security, on opportunity and inclusion. She had a very close and strong relationship with the African American community because there are portions of South Los Angeles that had large Korean populations prior to the Great Migration and the settlement of African Americans in areas just near the USC area and in areas that are now called, that we have designated as Koreatown. And it's quite interesting and ironic that Ms. Cuddy made her transition from this battle to the next as she did, because Los Angeles has just elected its first Korean American city councilman. So we see one generation passing on to another the responsibility of service, the investment in people, and the continuing advancement of the American dream. I would respectfully ask that this body join the Assemblywoman from Orange County in recognizing the life and legacy of Susan Ann Cuddy. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Ms. Ridley Thomas. Ms. Melendez, you are recognized for your adjournment in memory.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Colleagues, I rise today to adjourn in memory of a friend and a community leader, Tom Thomas, who passed away earlier this month. Tom was a member of the school board for many years, over a decade. He served twice as both the president of the Lake Elsinore Rotary Club, CEO of the Lake Elsinore Valley Chamber of Commerce, executive director for Cops for Kids, a longtime Rotarian. He's basically, if there was some sort of service-related activity, he didn't know how to say no. That was part of his charm. He did love spending time at his second home in Mexico with his family over 20 years, every chance they could get. They would go down to Mexico, and while he was there, he took the time to help those who were in need. He didn't go just for vacation. It got to the point where he sensed that there was more need there than he could possibly cover himself, so he brought issues back to the local Rotary Club, and then they went on to help build an orphanage. They went on to help establish a home for seniors. They went on to establish a program called Thousand Smiles Health Clinic for kids who were in severe need of dental care. So he was just a good guy. He was a kind man. Now, on a lighter note, you didn't ever want to be behind Tom's car when he was backing up, because he had a habit of running things over, not necessarily people, but mailboxes, poles, televisions, bicycles, scooters. They were all run over the years, so he definitely didn't want to be behind his car. And he was also one of those people who really did, there may be some members in here today who agree, felt that duct tape fixed everything, and so he had rolls of it everywhere, no matter where you were. And Thank you. It in his desk drawer, in his truck, in his car, it was everywhere. So he was a kick. He's going to be sorely missed. He was only 66 years old. He leaves behind his wife Dee of 33 years and his son. And I ask that you adjourn in his memory. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Melendez. Ms. Grove, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. And I rise to adjourn in memory of a Bakersfield police officer who was killed early Friday morning, just past. Officer David Nelson was only 26 years old, and he was with the Bakersfield Police Department for 2 years. A mother and a father have lost their son. A brother, Eric, has lost his best friend. Rachel has lost the man that she loved, and a community has lost a hero and someone who was very brave. Law enforcement friends have described him as the nicest guy in the world and said that his professionalism was one of the best. This is the first death for the Bakersfield Police Department since 1983, and our community is deeply saddened. We are forever in debt for his sacrifice. Our prayers are going out to their family and friends of that community. And we also want to thank you, members, for adjourning in the memory of Officer David Nelson.
Thank you, Ms. Grove. Mr. Salas, you are recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I also join my colleague in Kern County in adjourning in the officer of Bakersfield Police Officer David Nilsson. Talking to some of the community members, David Nilsson also served a lot of my constituents in East Bakersfield. And he was commended not only for his professionalism, but his involvement in the community, even though he was with the Bakersfield Police Department for just the past 2 years. So my deepest condolences go out to his family, his loved ones, and the entire Bakersfield Police Department. Members, thank you for joining us in adjourning in his memory today.
Thank you, Mr. Salas. Members, please bring the names to the desk to be printed in the journal. All requests to adjourn in memory will be deemed read and printed in the journal. Members, a few brief announcements. We'd like to acknowledge Mr. Harper, celebrated a birthday over the weekend. Happy birthday, Mr. Harper. And when you see Assembly Members Williams and Perea, please wish them a happy birthday as well. The session schedule is as follows. Tuesday, June 30th, check-in session. Wednesday, July 1st, check-in session. Thursday, July 2nd, floor session at 9 a.m. All other items remaining will be passed and retained. All motions shall be continued. Seeing and hearing no further business, I'm ready to entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. Holden moves. Ms. Waldron seconds. That this House stands adjourned until Thursday, July 2nd at 9 a.m. Quorum call is lifted.